Chemistry in everyday life. Chemistry in everyday life chapter. Chemistry has great importance in our life. Everything in universe is made up of about naturally occurring 100 elements and more. Compound made up of two or more elements and mixture of two or more element or compound. Our body, whatever we eat, drink or breathe, soap, detergent, medicines, cloth, everything else we use or see around is made up of element, mixture and compounds. A large number of chemical reactions take place inside and outside our body. Large number of chemical reactions take place inside and outside our body. It is the harmonious and the synchronous of chemical reactions in our body which lead to good health and life. Undesired and discordant reactions lead to illness and bad health. Growth of plant and animal depend upon large number of chemical reactions. Setting of cement, curdling of milk, cooking of food, rotting of food material, and large number of other observations in our daily life are result of chemical reactions. Concept of chemical reactions and principle of chemistry have been used for benefit mankind. Drugs and their classifications. Drugs are chemical compound of low molecular weight 100 to 500 U which are capable of interacting with biomolecules like lipid, protein, carbohydrate and nucleic acid and produce biological responses. Medicines biological response can be used for the diagnosis, preventions or curing a disease. The drug is known as the medicine. Use of medicines for the curing disease are chemotherapy, but this term now refers mainly to use of medicines for the killing cancer. Most of drugs used as medicines but taken higher dose than the recommended are potential poisons. Classifications of drugs. Drugs are classified mainly on basis of following criteria. On the basis of pharmacological effect, classifications is based upon type of problem which can be treated by drug. For example, drugs used for relieving the pain are known as the analgesic. Drugs used for reducing the fever are known as the antipyretic. Drugs used for inducing sleep are known as hypnotic. Drugs used for killing or arresting growth of microorganisms known as antimicrobial and used for directly applied to living tissue are antiseptics. On the basis of drugs action, this classification is based upon the actions of drug on particular biochemical process. Chemical histamine is responsible for the various problems in body, including acid secretions in the stomach, blocked nose and sore throat. Drugs which inhibit the action of histamine, which cause inflammations in body, are known as the antihistamine. On the basis of chemical structure, this classification is based upon the structure of drug. Drugs having similar chemical structures are kept in same class. For example, sulfonamides have common structural features given below. Benzene NH2 S double bond O NHR N alkyl P amino benzene sulfonamide. Drugs having similar structural features having similar pharmacological effect. Drugs having different structural features kept in the different classes. All drugs having SO2NH group are called sulfa drugs. These are the target molecules or drugs target depending upon the nature of target molecules. Drugs are classified in the different groups. Drug target interactions. Enzymes and receptors are mostly proteins. They act as the target molecules for some drugs which enzymes and receptors. As example, drugs target interactions can be explained. Enzymes as target molecules for drugs. For the understanding the interactions between drugs and enzymes, it is important to know how enzymes catalyze the reactions. Mechanism of enzyme actions. Long chain of the enzymes proteins. Molecules are coiled on each other to make a rigid colloidal particle with cavities on its surface. These cavities, which are of characteristic shape and size, are known as the active sites. The molecules of substrate which have complementary shape and size fit into these cavities just as key fit into lock and key theory. Substrates bind to the active sites of enzyme through a variety of interactions like ionic bonds, hydrogen bonds, and van der Waals force of attractions. The substrate's molecules thus come close enough to form an activated complex which decomposes to form the products. Drugs enzymes interactions. Many drug inhibits the catalytic activities of many enzymes. Drug enzyme interactions is very selective. A particular drug can interact with a particular enzyme only and will not interact with other enzymes. Drugs which inhibit the activities of enzymes are known as the enzyme inhibitors. Drugs inhibits the activities of enzymes in two manners. Drug molecules having the same size and shape as the substrate molecules, complete with the natural substrate for the for attachment with active sites. Such drugs are called the competitive inhibitors. Some drugs do not attach themselves with the active site of enzymes. They are attached to a different site of the enzymes called the allosteric sites. This results in a change in the size and shape of active site. The substrate molecules are no longer able to attach themselves with the active site of enzyme. The bond formed between the enzyme and the drug is so strong that the enzyme is blocked permanently and can no more act as the catalyst. Receptors as a target molecules for drugs. Proteins which transmit communications to different parts of body are called receptors. Receptor proteins are embedded in the cell membrane. A small part possessing active site. The project out of the surface of membrane and open on outside region of the cell membrane. In body, chemical which communicate message between neurons and that between neurons to muscles are known as the chemical messengers. Chemicals are able to bind themselves with active sites of receptors proteins to accommodate a messenger. The shape of receptor site changes slightly. This gives a message to cell to do function something. A body contains a large number of different receptors that interact with the different chemical messengers. In analogy with the lock key, certain receptors are also selective for the bind only on or only few chemical messengers because they have different shape, structure and amino acid compositions of their binding site. Drugs interact with receptors in two ways. Drugs that bind to the receptor site and inhibit the natural functions of a chemical messenger are known as the antagonists. They are useful when the blocking of message is required. Drugs that bind to the receptor site and perform the same functions as natural chemical messenger are known as the agonists. They are useful when there is a lack of natural chemical messenger. Outer surface of cell membrane, binding site, chemical messenger, induced fit, cell membrane, interiors of cell. Message binding site, message receptor receiving chemical messenger, shape of receptor changed after the attachment of messenger, receptor regains structure after removal of chemical messenger.